welcome back. Sorry there's not been much up on the way of uploads over the last month, 2 months or so. I've just been absolutely snowed under working on the cottage. I'm not going to show any of that this week just for the sake. I'd rather show it when I've got some progress that's finished. It's all half jobs here, half jobs there, waiting on plumbers, waiting on sparkies. It's all plastered out now. I've actually started doing some painting, so everything I've got is covered in paint. Anyway, purpose of today's video, for those of you that were subscribed to me a couple of years ago, you might recall seeing my friend Chris showing me how to do his scraping and curling. Well, Chris sadly passed away, and his wife, well, now widow, has been progressively disposing of his various collections through farm auctions. I was asked if I'd pop up earlier this week just to have a look at a fabrication table, give them an idea of what it was worth if somebody was interested. So I popped up and discovered a little cache of I think what Chris had intended to put into his own workshop of very old machines. In amongst them there is a Muir planer miller. It's something I've never seen before. I've heard of them but never seen one. There's an old Lang lathe, there's a Dsg Lathe, there's a Milwaukee miller, there's umpteen other things, and quite an interesting Butler Shaper. So I then went back this morning, took my little handsaw and secateurs and cleared away the bushes that were growing up and around them. These things have been there, my guess, 10 or 15 years, maybe a bit, maybe even 20. They were probably all very good nick when they arrived, and Chris didn't buy junk. He bought stuff that he wanted to save or wanted to use. He also bought a lot of junk which was his raw materials for repairing the other ones. So yeah, a bit of an intro, but that's the purpose of this video, just to show you what I found. I know there's a couple of guys out there that are interested in some of the bits. This is as much detail as I've got. I've put some dimensions on, give an idea of the weights. The family basically want shot of the lot. They want to clear the field out, get it scraped off, because they're more into horses than machinery. So they want shot soon as. They don't want to see stuff scrapped, but they don't want it hanging around. So I've said I'll ask a few questions and see what folks are interested. So if you work on if you listen to the section, the pricing is basically whatever the scrap value is plus. You need to factor in what it will cost you to get up to this area in the high peak. They have said that they've got guys coming in with excavators and the likes, and they'll find some means of getting these into an accessible position. So it's then just a case of being able to lift them onto a trailer or whatever. Some of them aren't small, and this is, to my knowledge, the last of the stuff which has been stored pretty much outside. The rest of it is all in his various containers and lockups, and they've not got to that yet. Anyway, enjoy. Leave us a comment below, let me know what you think. I'm slightly gutted because I wish I'd just got much more space and could save some of this myself. For purely the reason of just investigating how these things were put together and rebuilding them and scraping them in, which is I think what Chris was looking at doing. Longer term, he wanted to build a museum and house his collection, but that sadly never happened. So enjoy. See you again. So this is the collection field for my friend Chris, who departed these mortal coils a couple of Christmases ago. They've had an auction and cleared off most of the stuff, and there's a few bits left that have still got to be collected. That's a piece of history. I think it's going for scrap. I think it was something like a 1930s body on a 1920s chassis. And Chris used to tour around the country in it. It shows. Anyway, what we're here to have a look at, I might be wrong, that one might be sold and it might be the one behind it that's getting scrapped. That would probably stack up. It's another coach. Automatic bandsaw, in need of a service. All sorts of trailers and That's the underside of a saw that's upended. Some sort of, I think it was a power hacksaw. Anyway, we're going in there. I'll show you. Oh, that's a machine bed off something. No idea what though. That looks like another one of his cement mixers. He got a fetish for those. There's all sorts of stuff knocking about. I don't know what that is. That's a fabrication table, which I believe's under offer. That's a marking out table, which is quite a nice piece. Nice set of cast legs on it. Nice fine casting on the body. Don't know what that is. I'm going to have a look at that. That's a Van Norman milling machine, so it'd be a universal mill, I think. It's got a vertical head on the far side, and I think it's got a ram on the top, so you can run horizontal tooling in it. But I need to check a bit more. That's the inside of that coach. Yeah. That's a 3 foot by 3 foot surface plate on top of some kind of machine bed, sorted table. And then we've got beyond here, there's a Lang lathe. And then when I get into there and cut some of the foliage back, you'll see there's a radial arm drill and a planer mill, which is what I've come to measure up. Oh, join me as we go and see what we've got. So, say, marking out table, that's a 4B, probably 30 inches. That's a 4 foot by 4 foot fabrication table. That's under offer. I don't think they want to get a shot of that. I've still not got down to that thing. It looks like a dividing head, but we'll see. We've got a Van Norman miller, a, oh crikey, what is it? Milwaukee miller, pillar drill, I haven't, sorry, radial arm drill, I've not quite got the name off. A Dsg Lathe, that's quite interesting. A Lang lathe, both bloody good quality, sort of turned us out last century onwards. And then we've got a planer miller, and they're all uncovered as best I can get to them. So if we look at the Lang lathe, it looks like a Lang Junior, but I'm not that familiar with the range. But it's massive. I mean, I would guess that that's weighing 2.5 ton. In terms of size, you're going to get what? It's probably classed as a 12 inch. Yeah. Across the tool post, you're looking at what, 5 1/4. Look at the size of that. The length of the arms. It's flat way on the front, then a V, another flat way on the rear. Looks like a Morse taper 3 up the spout on the tailstock, and the headstock's what? Just under 2 inch, so 1 3/4, 1 7/8. Bed length. I'm not going to start trying to slide stuff apart. Bed length's 47 inches, near as damn it. So I would guess you've got what? 6 inches at the back. And you've got 22, so it's going to be about 28 inches, maybe 30 inch centres. So not massive capacity for the size of lathe, but that's how they made the things. Change gear quadrant. Quite a sophisticated gearbox. Forced oil feed around the headstock. It's nice. And it's all there. I can't see chunks off it or anything like that. You know, I mean, look, that's the only sort of work damage. What's that say? John Stone. That's a nice unit. Van Norman milling machine. I mean, these were sheeted up at some stage, but I mean, judging by the condition of the tarp, I'm saying, I'd say 15 to 20 years ago. So Van Norman, I can't see the number on it, but a sliding ram, and from memory I thought they had a 50 taper in the spout, but the head looks like that's a 50 taper. Quite a clever unit that, just because of the working envelope you've got. But yeah, in need of a full strip and rebuild. This one's the Milwaukee. Is that Model H? Still got milling cutter in it. I don't know what the taper is on that. It'll be American or whatever it is. I think the BT40 or something like that. That'll be a nice unit cleaned up. Then we've got the Dsg Lathe. This is a brute, as most of the Dsg ones are. It's fitted with a, what's that, 16 inch chuck. Not a massive bed. Excuse me, I'm trying to operate a tape and the camera. And you've got what, 10 inches at the back, 12 inches at the front. That's probably another 30 inch centres. What I can't see is the sizing. But again, you know, it'll have some wear, but it looks pretty good. There's still oil in the pots dribbling out. Might want to rewire and a bit of a clean off. But yeah, nice piece of kit. It's arguably still a bit big for what I was looking for, so that's probably why Chris never suggested a look at that. I think the Lang would have gone in. That's about the same footprint as my Holbrook. But that's probably a more versatile lathe, but I'm guessing with the chuck size it would need 5 or 6 horsepower at least. Probably 10 from Dsg. The motors are knocking them out somewhere, but I mean that's... Might need to put it in the airing cupboard for a few days. Right, so planer miller. Well, first off we've got this hacksaw, and I've just put some tape over it. It's a flatbed fed. It's still got the changing mechanism. I understand they get nicked quite often. That saw is rather large. We've got 27 inches span and 22 inches vertically. I mean, that vise is open at the moment. 10 inches, and I'm guessing it goes up to 16 or something like that. I bet that weighs a bit. That's an old one, that, isn't it? And it would probably clean up and be workable. It'd be a nice attraction for somebody that's got a little steam engine or traction engine and wants something to run off it. Right, so I'll go around the other side of this thing. Somewhere in amongst all the debris is my handsaw, which I've dropped inadvertently. But yeah, gonna need a bit of panel work. So that's Mills machinery. What's that say? Manchester Mills, is it? Oh no, WE Muir and Company, Manchester, number 1743. Now, as I understand it, that name change came about sometime in the 30s, and Muir trained as an apprentice under Joseph Whitworth, who you might have heard of. He was quite a keen chap. I mean, I can't tell you anything more about it because that's I haven't actually seen one before. But it looks to be relatively complete. flatbed, and there's, you know, all the bed looks pretty good. The clamping mechanism looks like nothing bust out, so it's not been abused. But then it's not going to go to a DIYer, I don't think. I don't know what half the bits do on it. Let's have a look on that plate. Oh, hang on, here's a bit of history. There you go, J. Whitworth and Company, Manchester. Wonder where that's off. That is a cast iron plate. For those of you that don't know, Whitworth gave his name to the project for the standardised thread form, which any Land Rover owner will come to have hated, because there's some of them, there's UNF and there's metric on them. What a piece of kit. It's obviously had some work done when they rewired it. I can't believe that's a lifting eye. I don't know what this mechanism is here, dislodged or taken off for moving it. There's names all over it, isn't it? Right, so that's as much as I can show you. I'll get some dimensions off it now and I'll bring you back. From near to the clamp table to the trailing end, 8.5 inches, 78 inches over the top face. The bed below extends a further roughly 14 inches. Width across this rear assembly is 64. Width between the pillars 24. So 14.5. It's not a big footprint that by any means. Fitting a standard garage, isn't it? There's another number up there, so that's his patent 1694 number. So those of you that have access to the patent office, which I think is online, a lot of it, yeah, it extends out the other end of this another 7 inches. Yeah, that's quite a nice unit, that. I can see why Chris has tucked them away at the back here, because these were all once really good machines. Right, next bit we'll have a look at. This is a Shaper. It's in a different configuration to anything I've seen before, so I'm just going to have a bit of a closer look and see if I can work out why. It's made by a firm called Butler, who were based over in Halifax, and they made some clonking great big industrial shapers. I had a look around one on an earlier video. It's on the front page. I think it was an 18-inch Shaper, and it was 8 foot long. It was massive. Couldn't physically get it in my place, so I had to turn it down. The guy didn't want much for it either. Just didn't want to see it get scrapped or sent abroad. Yeah. That workbox assembly is quite different from anything I've seen. The plates down there. I don't know what I'm standing on down here. Yeah, all sorts of stuff. That's a thing of poor polish. It looks like a grinding setup. Anyway, I can't see any fixings to go above, so it's not had anything else strapped on at the top. Size wise, it looks to be about 12 inch.
It might be 14. So it's 26 inches a lot across travel there. So you've got what, 7 and 7. So it's a 14-inch width, and I would guess about the same on the stroke. I'm guessing that that's the crank in there. It's definitely a different setup. So you've got a hand wheel, unless it's a flat belt drive. But it's got, no, it's not flat belt because there's a motor the other side. I mean, that'd clean up nice. So you've got a flywheel there. There your gearbox, that's your gearbox. Big electric drive. That looks to be about 2.5 to 3 horsepower. Yeah, don't know. But look at the way it's made. It's beautiful. So it's had the motor added by the look of it, and that they've been running on a flat belt. Yeah, nice piece of kit. That's your adjustable stroke then. So that's the bull gear. Fabulous. Is it? I've not seen one like this, so you're going to have to bear with me, because if that is the bull gear, that means all the power's going through that, as opposed to the yoke arrangement underneath. I can't see how else it would work. Certainly wants saving, that does, doesn't it? And it's your stroke adjust, feed mechanism. Yeah, looks like that's the ball gear in there. That's the stroke. Very different design. Looks like that might be a clutch mechanism under there, maybe. And this must be just for cranking it round behind. Height adjust on the bottom. I mean, ergonomically, it must be a pain in the arse to run it, but on the other hand, you have got all the adjustments. What's that sprung there? I wonder if that whole table index is round. It looks like it does. Yeah, because you've got T-slots on the bottom as well. Yeah, quite a clever bit of kit. Right, this radial arm drill. I can't see markings on it for a plate or anything. The table measures, well, I guess about 16 or 18 inch. Comes with a free robin's nest on the top. Well, it's a 20-inch table. Or work box, if you call it that. Let's see if I can get a measurement on the arm. It's going to be around 30 inches. It's nice. I'm 6 foot and it's literally the same height as me. So I say built-in robin's nest. Yeah. This is a little tool grinder setup. You know, you've got an abrasive wheel here. I'm assuming that's a water-cooled pot. Drive there for a pump, I'm guessing. I mean, it's been knocked about a bit, but might be recoverable if anybody's interested. It's got some wording on the side, but I can't make that out. Entiu. Don't know. Yeah. So I guess the $1 million question is, what are they worth? I mean, from a scrap van point of view, the price up here is 230 quid per tonne for scrap, and they'll come and collect it. So if you took that planer and you said, right, what's the tonnage on that? I don't think you get much more than 3 tonne out of it.
So that gives you what, 600-700 quid. The saw, probably about a ton. So that's a couple hundred quid. The shaper, yeah, about a ton. Maybe, yeah, no, it's about a ton. So again, a couple hundred quid. That Dsg lathe is probably 2.5. So what, 470. So say 500 quid for it. Same for the mill, probably a bit less. Pillar drill. I mean, Christ, I'd have that if I could get it in my workshop. Not pillar drill, you know, a radial arm drill. I mean, it's all there. I just can't see a name tag on it. It looks like an Archdale. Robin's at it. No, it's not there. It must be probably covered up with this Dsg lathe. If that's the collet off it, is it? That would appear to be something that's broken off somewhere. Don't know. I mean, it was the sort of thing that wants a good clean up and having a look at, but none of the people involved are interested in cleaning them up. They just want shot. So yeah, where are we up to? That's probably 2.5 to 3 ton. And that Lang lathe's probably the same, 2.5 to 3. So as a quick readying up, you say those two, let's call them 4.5 ton. 5, 6, 7 ton, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. If you said 15 ton, you're looking at 3 grand, aren't you?